Hi, my name is Kristen Hoffman, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for Business Applications. I specialize within Business Central. Today I'm going to show you how you can use deferral templates within your Business Central environment to manage any sort of prepayments, deferrals, revenue expenses to help make your job a lot easier. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do in my scenario is I'm going to tell you what I'm trying to do here. And for today's example, we're going to use this scenario where my Microsoft partner sends me an invoice for licenses and they send me an invoice for a full year. So that full year, I want it to be amortized out in the correct periods for the expenses. So that's going to be my scenario. The first thing that I want to do before I get set up with deferral templates is I want to make sure that my accounts exist in the system. So for my scenario, I'm going to use this prepaid expenses account 10501, and I'm also going to use the expense account 60033. So the scenario would be I want my expenses to hit the account number 60033, but I want it to be amortized out by 12 months. So in order to do that, we have to have a prepaid expenses account number set up, which is the 10501. So we have our account set up. I'm going to come up to the lookup and I'm going to type in deferral templates. This is going to be where you set up the template on how you want things to flow in the system. So we can see I don't have one set up yet, but I'm going to go ahead and click new. I'm going to give it a deferral code, and in this case, I'm going to say 12-month prepaid expense. Now, I'm using the word prepaid expense just so that I have it matched up to my GL, because the deferral account right here is going to be my prepaids account. I do also have a couple other prepaid accounts set up for prepaid rent, prepaid insurance, so I'd want to have separate deferral templates set up for those since it's a unique GL account. Once I have that set up in here, I am going to have the start date be the beginning of the next period. That means that if I enter an invoice today on 5/30, it will not start being amortized out until 6/1. I want it to be amortized out for 12 months, and period description, I can have this be whatever I want. So I'll just go ahead and say custom description so you guys can see where that comes into play in a couple minutes. Once I have the deferral template set up, now I'm ready to go ahead and enter in that vendor invoice. I'm going to simply come up to purchase invoice, select my vendor, make sure that my posting date, my document date, all of that information is correct. Come down to the line section and enter in the expense. I want to get coded to account number 60033 for software expense. The vendor is billing me for 12 months at $70 per month. If I scroll to the right, I'm going to see a lot of other fields over here, and your window may look a little bit different than mine depending on the personalization that you have. But specifically what I'm looking for is the deferral code field, and I don't see that here. So I'm going to simply come up to the settings, click on personalize, and I'm going to add a field. And the field that I'm looking for down in this section is called deferral code. So once I have that, I'm going to bring that down into the line section so that we can utilize that. I'm going to go ahead and click done, and I'm going to wait here a moment just because it is a little bit slow on my end. I'm just going to give it a moment to get that deferral code field populated into the window. All right, that deferral code is populated into the window. I'm going to go ahead and select that field and select the deferral template that I would like to use. There is an ellipsis off to the right here where we can review or update the information on the deferral schedule. So if I click on that, I can see that the amount to defer is $840, and that was the extended price or cost of what I'm buying, and that it is going to be spread out over 12 months, and the start date is 6/1. So we can see on 6/1, $70 all the way through May of 2023, $70. If I need to change anything in here, like the starting date, I can definitely change that up here and then say calculate schedule, and it will automatically recalculate it for me. So if something's not correct, and you want it to be recalculated, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, in my scenario here, I'm going to leave it as 6/1. Now, when you put in that deferral code, if you get a message saying that the accounting periods aren't set up, that just means that you need to go into the accounting periods window and you need to create a year, because what you're trying to amortize out for 12 months goes into 2023 in my scenario, and maybe 2023 is not set up in your system yet. So just keep that in mind. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the preview posting and I'm going to show you guys exactly what is happening in this transaction. We can see that there's going to be 30 GL entries. If I scroll to the top on 5/30, the expense is going to go into the software expenses. It's going to come right back out. Debit, credit, right back out. It then goes into the prepaid expenses account. From there, every single month thereafter, we can see a debit to the expense, a credit to the prepayment. So this is just proving to you guys that it's 100% going into prepaid expenses, and then every month the system is doing the work for you. So no more monthly prepaid expense journal entries that your accounting team needs to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post this transaction, and then we're going to jump over into the chart of accounts so that we can actually see the balances. So if I go into the chart of accounts for prepaid expenses, it's showing a $0 balance. Now remember, these chart of accounts are always going to show the balances, not just through the current date, but through everything that's been posted in the system. So if I click in there, I can see on 5/30 today, the 840 coming in, and then I can see it going out 12 times on the next month, for the next 12 months. If I come down and I look at the expense account, I can also see here that it's coming into this account every single month. Now, don't get hung up that it's hitting on the 2nd of every single month. That just means that my fiscal periods for 2023 actually start on the 2nd, and that was just something that I was playing around with in another scenario earlier on in my sandbox. So as long as your periods start on the 1st of the month, you wouldn't have that issue as well. One thing that I want to show you here before we depart is that there are a couple reports. And if you just look up deferral, you'll see 3 reports. One's for GL, one's for sales, and one's for purchasing. In this case, this was a purchase invoice that I entered. I can come in here and I can say, look, show me the balance of any purchasing deferrals as of 5/30. So the thought process here would be, you pull your balance sheet at the end of the month, there's a balance sitting in prepaids. This report would tie out to that balance, similarly to like an aged AP trial balance or like an aged AR trial balance. If we look at this, we can see that we have one invoice for Fabricam, and the deferral start date is 6/1 for 12 periods, $840. So as of 5/30, $840 is sitting in that prepaid account. If I update this to be 6/30, we should see here that the amount recognized is $70. So in the month of June, in this case, we had $70 hit the expense, and there's remaining $770. So this is just one way that you can actually manage what is sitting in those deferrals, whether it's a GL, sales, or purchasing transaction. So hope you found this useful. If you did, give the video a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel to get more information on how to do things within Business Central. Thank you, everyone. Bye.